So I am delighted to welcome LB or Lauren Bailey to the podcast.
Hello, hello. How are ya?
I'm amazing. I'm so delighted to speak with you. And I think more importantly, my guests need some of the wisdom you have upstairs there as we start off and kick off a brand new year. So delighted to pick your brain. I actually don't like that saying, but I'm delighted to get your knowledge and expertise to help people really. And the focus is going to be on prospecting.
Good. Oh, yeah. It's a perfect time of year for that. And frankly, you're right. Like I've just turned 50, so I don't need any extra picks in my brain. Like I'm doing my best to hang on to what I got, sister.
I hear you. So when I look at, the beginning of the year, I look at the emails I'm getting, I look at the emails I'm sending, and I think back to my days in corporate and, you get your quota 20, 30% on top of it.
Right.
There's this feeling of desperation at the beginning of the year. And a lot of it is this me selling, I need to do this. I need to close this. And without reviewing it, we don't really understand the impact it has on our audience or the reason why we're not getting a response. So why don't we start with what are you seeing as it relates to prospecting, kind of what's working, just big picture, and perhaps what's not as we, turn into 2025?
Well, I think you're exactly right. And the way I like to describe what you just said is quota breath. Right? We get desperate, and boy, do our emails get worse. Right? So what I'm seeing right now doesn't feel a lot different than the desperation I saw at the end of the year. That's the fun part about our roles, isn't it, Karen? Because we help people become better sellers, right? But we also sell our own things. And as leaders of companies, we get sold at a lot. So we all have that perspective on the ecosystem. And what I get mostly are possibly AI generated, mass produced, usually wrong spam messages that piss me off more than help. And when I get one that isn't that, even for when it's for janitorial supplies, which be clear, I don't need, I will respond and say, great email, because it happens once a month.
So what I'm hearing is the bar is low.
The bar is so low right now. So if you're listening out there and you're trying to get attention to your prospecting emails, here's where to start. 1, don't let AI create it, right? Or if you do, ask AI to help you with specific topics that are key to those roles, AKA job titles or industries, right? And then rewrite what AI did and phrase it into a quick and easy question. Do not assume you know what's going on with them, right? Like I get named to lots of lists these days, which, Karen, I used to think would be really cool. And now I realize it's such BS. Yeah. Different topic. However, one of the lists I got named to was one of the best coaches, which is hilarious because I am literally the worst coach in the world. Horrible at it, which is why I wrote great training to help managers become better coaches, because I get it. Like, we are not naturally good coaches. So 9 out of 10 emails I get, right? AI pulled that off my LinkedIn profile and it assumes that I'm a coach, right? So because you have a coaching business, let me help you get it to 10x auto delete. Yeah. So don't use AI to craft it. Okay. Do not pitch in your outbound emails. Engage, then sell. Engage, then sell. Your goal of the first email is not to close the deal, folks. Your goal of the first email is to start a conversation. At which point you will also differentiate yourself by not pitching too early, asking questions, and then selling. Engage, then sell. So my tip is you can use AI to customize the email a bit, but don't use it to try to customize a pitch and do the whole sales process in one flipping email. Engage them as a human. Make it as short as possible. Bullet points and end with a closed question, which is different advice than you often hear.
Oh, such good value there. And, I agree. We have AI at our disposal. We should be using it. But it's so obvious when it's completely generated. Even the LinkedIn comments really bother me. But I feel if you're going to rely solely on AI, why does your company need you as a person, as a sales rep? Like they can save that
100%.
expense and put it into something different. So I
100%.
know your value.
Well, okay. Well, let's talk about that, right? Sales takes over where marketing ends.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm really honest, although, listen, I even have postcards that say, I'm in sales. I'm looking for the one behind me. Apparently, I cleaned my office. I'm in sales. And then my t shirt says, damn it, at the bottom. I'm in sales, damn it. But like, I want us to be proud of it. And we're losing. All right. Marketing is taking more and more and more and more and more of the decision funnel every single year. And damn it, they've earned it and we've lost it. And we've lost it through crap tactics like this. Okay. That's just the truth of the matter. But that's what you're saying is as sellers, we've got to know our value. Sales takes over where the chatbots and the websites can't help and people need help. Can we just reframe selling in that way? Somehow, even though we all hate the used car salesman, we decided that that's how we had to act too. So, like sales is a helping profession. This is what we take over where marketing can't help anymore. So let's lead with that value.
Mm-hmm.
As a salesperson, you can make someone's search easier. You can make it faster. You could help find a less expensive solution. You could help them make more money. You could help reduce the risk of what's going on with them. You could help them get control of this process and better understand their options. You can educate. All of those are top of mind ways where you can focus on what's in it for them. We call that SWIFT. I just went through the SWIFT 6. So what's in it for them?
Mm-hmm. And how much of it, I hear what you're saying, and then I think of my days starting in sales at probably 22, and nobody's showing me, my manager not really saying that this is what you're doing. So I'm just kind of going on who I think I should be. And you almost
Yeah.
become, and your voice changes, and you're
Oh
just
my
like,
God,
there's nothing
right?
about me here. And so
Yeah.
how much of it would you say, hang on a minute, what are the leaders showing? Are they showing what good looks like? Are they
No.
modeling that we are here to help, or are they just hitting them more in, this real dictator
Yeah.
mentality?
Yeah. Okay. Well, we've got a long cyclical problem here. I agree with you. Nobody's teaching these kids what to do,
Mm-hmm.
right? And when you don't teach someone how to sell, you get the kinds of emails that you and I get all day long. That's what happens. Okay. Now, why aren't their managers doing that? You know what? Because it's not their goddamn job. Okay. I mean, sales management to date, the busiest job I've had in my entire life. Okay. I was 24. I had a sales team of 12. I still have nightmares about those times, right? And right now I own two companies and have two kids. Sales management was still harder. So it's like there is no busier job in the world. It's the training department's help. Like it's a job. Sorry, it's a manager's job to help them. But this is why we have training departments. And I think here's the root cause. Karen, us OGs, when we came up, we didn't get the training either. When I look around at my client base, which are, I'm going to be honest, 90% of them are 40 to 50-year-old white men who came up in sales.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they walked to school in the snow both ways. They didn't get any training. They got a phone book and a tape recorder and good luck, son. And they made it. And so I think sometimes that as sales leaders, we treat our young sellers like we were. We buy tools that we would have loved, but we don't buy the training because the sales leaders don't know what good looks like either.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's just there's such a huge gap in what good is. And most people, I think, get it wrong. So I'm sorry, that's long-winded for saying, hell yeah, sister, I agree with you. These kids and reps, they need to be taught how to do it. And when we're not teaching them, we're doing them such a disservice because people are opting out of sales careers at an alarmingly faster and faster rate. It's no
Mm-hmm.
fun to fail.
And I think part of it is that's what's driving the profession down because it's this perpetual cycle of, mediocrity, unfortunately. And
Yeah.
even as you said, there's a gap there, but there's also fundamentals because there's the constant in sales is change, right? There's nuances, there's CTAs or now CTIs, all these things. But I feel like the fundamentals Like the things that have stood the test of time are no longer. And if I just rewind back a little bit, I feel when the gravy trains were running and people had a lot of budget, there was a lot of order takers. And now that the
Mm,
environment is different, a lot of reps don't have the fundamentals, the things that are the basics that applied when
mhm.
you and I first started. It's like that black
Yes.
dress; it doesn't go out of style.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
feel like the fundamentals are gone, and that's why it's kind of how do we get back to
Yeah.
basics
Yeah. Yeah.
that don't
The
change?
basics will always help. You're right. The
Yeah,
fundamentals will always, the little black dress will always work. Right.
yeah.
So, yes. And in fact, I hear that mostly right now from the SaaS industry. So the
Mm-hmm.
people who boomed in COVID and the crap economy are the ones struggling right now.
Yeah.
Right. Like think about Zoom Info. Think about how their sales skyrocketed. And there's so
Totally.
many other companies like that, and they were order takers. Well, guess what? You get out of the COVID boom and into the down economy,
Mm-hmm.
and we're suddenly realizing, oh no, I've got to sell.
Mm-hmm.
And so the basics are missing, yes, because we didn't train them, but the basics have also dropped down a level. And that's due to a change in the workforce. So when I was a sales leader, the standard hiring profile, and this was 15 years ago, 2 years of college, pardon me, 2 years of experience, 4 years of college, played a competitive sport. Everybody wanted that kid, right? And let's be honest, it was mostly guys. You can't find that today. You also can't find somebody who has really good business acumen. You also can't find somebody who loves talking to people on the phone. I can't get my damn kids to answer my calls. They text me.
Yeah.
Okay. They're afraid of the phone. So we have a real bottoming out of phone confidence. And to my SDRs and AEs out there listening to me, of course you do. Like, look how you were raised in school and what you've been through and all the right? My friends talk to their friends online. And so did you. And now you're in this job where you're supposed to dial out to strangers and talk about things you don't understand. Like, of course, you're like, forget about it. But I can schedule a cadence and
Yeah.
email 200 of them at once.
Yeah.
Let's do that instead. And you know what? That's fine. It's what you've been asked to do by your management. But if you want to win and you want to be in the top 10%, you're going to pick up the phone.
Mm-hmm. And just as you were painting that picture, it even dawned on me, like, I just think about kids these days. I have young kids and the helicopter parenting. And I feel like it starts with that coddling and, oh, be careful. And it's like, I teach my kids, like, eat the frog, go do the hard stuff. And
Oh, I
like,
love that.
they're resilient kids. Like they are
Yeah.
not, I mean, who knows what's going to happen with more technology and social media. But I just think when you lack empathy and all you can rely on is cadence and technology and do a poo emoji to show someone that you're upset, like, but yet you can't convey that emotion
Yeah.
in yourself. How
Yeah.
can you do that knowing on
Yeah.
the part of the brain that makes a decision and how we have to connect with people emotionally? If you can't
Yeah.
identify that in yourself, how the heck are you ever going to
Yeah.
move a prospect to even take a call with you?
It is a big gap. But you know what? I love the poo emoji. Like, I just want to say that as often as possible in the next 30 seconds. And so here's my tip. Put the poo emoji in your damn email. Because here's the thing. If you're under 30 and you have spent most of your life texting and talking in emojis, like my kids still have to tell me what these things mean. And as soon as I catch on, I start using it and they're like, "Mother, never say that again." Right? I'm
Yeah.
so instantly uncool. But my point is, fly the freak flag, fly the poo emoji.
Yeah.
If you're used to communicating that way, how come we become different people at work, Karen?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Just like you were saying before, none of that is coming through. Well, the little black dress of selling is that people buy from people. Okay. That's a basic. And so when you're coming in not feeling confident about talking to a COO about mitigating risk in his corporate environment, I get it. But at the very least, you can say, poo emoji, risk sucks. Our solution can help because that's how you talk. So I guess my point is you do you. Quit trying to become somebody else. Right? Now we have to be professional and it depends on the audience and blah, 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 blah. But if it comes down to it, gun to the head, put in the poo emoji.
Yeah. Yeah. My next email might have the poo emoji in it. Well, I hear what you're saying, but I also think, like, know your audience. If you are talking to another millennial, another Gen Z, definitely. But, if you are talking to a CIO, probably not, in their 20s or 30s, is that two things. A, it could deter, them, but also it might just be like, wow, this is a breath of fresh air because it's not scripted, it's not templated. And
Yeah.
actually there's a person at the end of it. So it might be
Bingo.
that pattern interrupt that they're just like, oh, okay.
Well, listen, they're not responding to your emails anyway, right?
I
Like,
know.
what is your actual response rate of the 10,000 things that you just blanketed out there?
Yeah.
So if you were to send a poo emoji, I bet it goes up. Now, there's a few who will never answer your email because you put it in there, and I get it. But they weren't going to really answer anyway. Here's an example of this. So, Karen, you and I were talking before. This is why we love each other. You're like, I drive a truck, but I don't swear on my podcast because you're professional and you're fabulous. And it's killing me not to drop F-bombs right now because it is like my favorite word of all time. But my point is this. I say it sometimes on my podcasts. Like, I literally just did a keynote on fears, F-ups, and failures. And the truth is, about 1 out of every 1,000, they immediately go away. Like, I get a complaint about once every 5 years, and I lose that audience member. But for every one in a couple thousand I lose, I attract more because those are my people. And I've decided I'm going to keep it that way. Like, I mentioned beer on my website. Why? Because that's me and that's our personality. And that's Seth Godin, the marketing genius. That's what he means by let your freak flag fly. Mm-hmm. And you're going to find people who are like you and they are passionate followers and they will reply to your poo emoji. Mm-hmm. And yep, you're going to lose a couple too, but you probably didn't have many.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I say the same statement about your freak flag to my kids. Again, my kids always come in conversations here. But so what I call that as a polarizing statement, and I use them all the time because, again, you want to attract 80% of the people that align to you. And then the other ones, they're not for you. And I agree with that. So what I'm hearing and what I'm also seeing, and you can tell me what you think here, is just the more authentic, the more you can bring to the table, because again, it dispels the fact that a bot wrote this or AI, because AI is everywhere. And it just might be the thing that and it's probably not going to be the first email, but if they get the sense that the feel and the vibe as well, there's actually there's a bit of comic relief there.
Yes.
It's different. So anything that allows you to stand out is a good thing.
Yes, 100%. I wrote a class that we have in the sales bar called Authentic and Quick Rapport Building, because people still think rapport building is about weather and, the basics. And that's not how you make actual authentic connections. And one of our 5 advanced tips is humor. But the other one is about letting yourself be known. Like, you've got to share a little, right? So if I want to ask you about, your weather, at the very least, I should share what's happening in mine or a story that goes with it.
Yep.
In fact, people love fails. So when you can do that, when you can build up your credibility and then instantly make fun of yourself in a small way, it's called the pratfall effect. And they literally did a study about it, and it increases people's connection to you and how much they like you instantly. Right? So I'm looking at you, I'm like, oh my gosh, is that a K on your necklace? I love that. I'm wearing an L. And the funny part is yours is cooler than mine, Karen, because like as many blah, 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 credibility. My favorite thing is to wear an L on my shirt like Laverne and Shirley. And like, that just makes me a great big loser, but I love it. So I see.
Oh, thank you so much. And what I wrote down there was being relatable. And I'll tell you how I learned that the hard way is I sometimes get called in to do talks to colleges who are teaching sales programs.
Oh, cool.
And the talk is always on finding your authentic voice. And the first one I did, these kids, they're literally kids, where, again, they don't have a point of reference to refer back to. So I remember going in and sharing some of my struggles and challenges, and I wasn't moving them because I was playing safe. I was on the surface. And they're kind of looking like, waiting to find the authentic voice here. And so I had to be really vulnerable, disarm, and not be this sage on the stage, know everything. But for me, that was a real turning point in that people connect with your imperfections. And when they see that you don't have it figured out, because they go, that's me. And so I learned to they wouldn't be talking to me if I didn't kind of come out the other end. But along the journey, if I have to change them, I have to meet them where they're at in the poo emoji phases of my life, which were 20 years of sales. I crawled through a lot of them. I made so many failures, but it never deterred me from keeping on going. But
Yeah.
sharing them,
Yeah.
normalized them, and made it okay, and also said, hey, it's not if it happens, it's when it happens.
I couldn't agree more. And I really applaud you for talking about sales fails, because sales is a profession wrought with failure.
Mhm.
Okay. Sales is 90% failure, folks. Like, if you look at the funnel stats, that is what it is.
Yep.
But we don't talk about it. And as leaders, we have to start doing that better. Okay.
Mhm.
When we bury our head in the sand and we don't talk about rejection, angry customers, hangups, mess ups, all the big umbrella of failures that I think we could write the best book ever about, right? When we don't talk about sales fails, then kids come in expecting that doesn't happen.
Mhm.
And when I get these first failures, it's a surprise to me. And let me tell you how the human brain works, especially with women. I feel ashamed.
Mhm.
If you're not talking about failures and making it normal, I assume it's me and I'm the only one struggling and everybody else has it figured out. And that's exactly what we think. And then you know what? My armor goes up even further. And that is no way to make an authentic connection with somebody, right? That's when I start to bring less of me. It's when I start to try less. It's
Mhm.
when I bring my whole self and I fail like that. That hurts. So why don't I just throw this spam AI generated crap over the wall, and then it's not really about me? No
Mm.
wonder we can't get people to fly their flags. We have to
Mhm.
get leaders who fail out loud.
Oh, mic drop. But that's taking off their armor first. And when they don't do that, like that was such a beautiful story, because it's beautiful but sad. But when I think about women, that further they move into a more reclusive situation and they
Yes.
shut down. And when you
Yes.
think about the innate natural abilities we have to build trust, to connect, to be empathetic, none of that comes through because
Yes.
we are afraid. And so how can we proactively say, okay, so when this 8 to 14 touches, so when we don't get a response on the second one, no one's turning to Ben and Jerry's. This is to be expected.
Yeah.
And really be proactive with what is most likely to happen and how will we address
Yes.
it.
Yes. And we have to help celebrate small wins.
Mm-hmm.
So I trained a guy at Michelin recently. I don't normally take the training classes, but the trainer was out and I was like, oh, I like Greenville, South Carolina. It's going to be great. I went and did the new hire training class. And they were all former field reps. And this is why they hire us, right? Because we teach how to do virtual sales. And, we got through the class okay and everything was fine. I get a call a month later. His name's Johnny. And he was just like, this kid is adorable, by the way. He knows his product and he's such a good looking guy. Like, he has a face for field sales. So he goes into phone sales with like his greatest weapons tied behind his back because people can't, like, can't see how adorable he is, right? He's like, LB, I just feel like the biggest effing failure. And as we get to the end of this story, here's the punchline. He really thought he was supposed to be closing them and getting deals as he was outbound calling. And what happens in virtual sales is that call cycles lengthen, talk times shorten, touches grow, because you're not there in a captured audience for 90 minutes, starting from soup to nuts.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to not just set the expectation for failure in the end, right? That it happens 9 out of 10 times, but also, hey, you know what looks really good on call one? 3.5 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
a conversation, the ability to qualify them, to capture a new decision maker, to get an email. All of those are huge effing wins. And so I think that's a little bit of our secret sauce at Factor 8. Like, we start with those teeny tiny tactical skills. But what happens when we get those and then we come back in from doing live calls and we count them? We just uncovered 35 new decision makers. We just uncovered 40 A accounts. And by the way, 30 D, get rid of them accounts.
Mm-hmm.
And what that does is start to celebrate success. And those baby wins, those baby home runs, like, that builds phone confidence.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, I don't feel like a failure every time I dial. I'm like, look at that, I got an email. Woo woo. And I'm more excited to call again.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I heard there is just even that dopamine hit, right? I think we're all looking for it. And when we have that feeling and the flood of of hormones going through our body. We want more of it. And so when we deny ourselves that, there's no real motivation, internal motivation to move forward, because it's like, well, this is like an 8-month sales cycle, like it's so far down. But if you
Yeah.
celebrate the mini wins, it's like you're getting the momentum that's going to carry you to the end.
And now we're not surprised we've come full circle, right? I have no dopamine hits. I feel like a failure. I feel like I'm the only one.
Hmm.
While I am searching for another job, I will just keep hitting send on
Yeah.
these AI generated cadenced emails. I will continue to outbound in my same boring way. Like literally half the reps are dialing A to Z,
Hmm.
right? And leaving the same voicemail. And then I will try it 3 times and then I will stop. And
Hmm.
I will go through these motions. It's like being an assembly line worker. That's
Yeah.
what we've done. Right. And that's a pity.
Let me ask you a question. How do you celebrate your mini wins? Do you
Well,
practice
you
what
know
you
what's
preach?
funny? Like me personally, I go tell somebody about it because you're just excited and you want to share it. Nobody's given me a damn gift card for it, like our training classes, right? Like, so I go tell somebody about it, and as soon as I said that, I laughingly rolled my eyes because every sales manager has one of those. Like your top reps need to be pet constantly, right? They're
Mhm.
just attention whores. Like you got to pet the puppy 5 times a day. And it's so hard and it's so it's like it takes up so much time. So we'll do like a wins channel or something where we can Slack it. And that's the fun of those gamification systems. For me personally, I spend more time cheering other people than myself. But when it's a big win, I go tell my husband. Or sometimes
Mhm.
I tell my kids and they're
Yeah.
like they think I'm cool
Yeah.
for a second.
No, I hear you, but I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I mean, I sell my business, right? I sell my services.
Yeah.
So I feel that when
Yeah.
I win, when you win in corporate, it's still a good feeling. But when you win that first kind of when you're in your first stages of entrepreneurship, it's like, wow, that was all me. Like they bought
Oh
into
my
me.
God.
And
Yes.
and I feel when you deny yourself that, it's the same thing. Like I look at email starting to get a bit flat, you're just losing that that oomph.
Yeah. No, you're so right. And I didn't do that for myself enough, if I'm
Hmm.
honest. I had a Pilates teacher who I was working with her for a period of time, and then she would come to my home and she came and brought me a present with carrying balloons. And I was like, what's this about, Jen? She's like, it's my 1 year anniversary. And I was like, good for you. You're an entrepreneur and you're celebrating, right? I just hit
Yeah.
16 years. I haven't done one of those. And like, do you know the percentage of women whose businesses get past 10 years or $1 million? It's like,
Yeah.
right? We're in this teeny tiny percentage. So we need to celebrate. Thank you for that reminder. That's so, so true.
Yeah, celebrate. I think that's why community is so important. And when you look at, women sales pros, women sales experts, all the
Yeah.
groups that you and I are part of, we know what goes into it. And I feel like you get that lift from yourself, but also from them, but also cheering them on, is equally, I get as much out of it as their success as it's mine. I know that sounds
That's the
very
fun part.
corny, but it's true when they're your friends, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the fun part for sure. That's why we need that
We totally
community. I
do.
couldn't agree more.
So just as we kind of start winding things down, is there 2 or 3 either channels, real tactical things that people could be doing, whether it's video, whether it's
Yeah.
your call to action, brevity, anything that people can start doing immediately to, again, with the goal of getting a response to
Yeah.
start a
Yeah.
conversation?
Let's try a couple things. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll go by channel. When we start in email, I want you to make your subject line super specific and weird.
Hmm.
Then I want you to have no more than 4 lines. They should be bullets. They should have absolutely zero pitch. And the end is a closed question. The closed question is how you get someone to engage with you. You need to make it super fast and easy for them to reply and type no more than 10 keys, right?
Yep.
Yes, I do. No, I don't. Yes, I am. 23, whatever it is, that's engage. Okay. And once you do that, that's how you start a conversation.
Okay.
On LinkedIn, if you're doing account based marketing, you go and engage for a while. And engaging is not liking, that doesn't count. Engaging is writing a thoughtful comment. Then you go and connect with them and you compliment them. And you cannot, will not, should not ever pitch. Okay. Then again, short question, get them to engage. Then you get into a conversation, right? I want you to connect as a human being first. I think video does work. And 10 years ago, I would have told you it'll work for a minute or two and then it's going to go away because everybody's going to start doing it. But I think it still does work. But here are the keys to the video. One, it has to be immediately noticeable as customized to me. And the way people do that is a little whiteboard that says, "Hi, Karen," right? And it needs to be under 2 minutes long. And guess what else it shouldn't do? You should know. Don't pitch. Okay. Your goal of step one is to engage. Then you qualify each other and make sure you're not wasting each other's time. Quit talking about you and your solution and start talking about them and their situation. And if you can't translate what your product does into the person who needs it, the why, and the situation that they're in, so that your questions can be about that, then go talk to somebody in your organization about getting some training.
Yes, excellent, amazing, tactical. So email, subject line bolded, closed binary question. Again, make it easy for them. A lot of times I see 2 or 3 call to actions, open ended, and I'm like, they don't know you. They're definitely not going to invest any effort to respond to you. So I like that.
Yeah. The other thing I hate, Karen, sorry to interrupt your summary, but don't ask for my time right away. I would rather give you $100 than an hour.
Yeah,
so,
totally.
Right. So don't lead with your pitch. And if you're selling meetings for your AE, you just premature pitched again.
Yeah.
Sorry. Keep going.
No, that's good. You have to earn that. And that's not in the first email you're going to do it. LinkedIn, what I love is a like doesn't count. You have to engage and thought provoking, insightful that you've actually read the article or you've done something versus these AI generated and you stand out as being annoying. Mm-hmm. I'm a huge proponent of video. I always send video. I think it's a differentiator. I know it gives you reach. So when you think about threading someone, I send it to you and then you're like, oh my God, look at this, what she's got to say. You send it to someone else so you get reach. And if it's against me with someone sending a PDF, the video is going to win any day. It's got emotion.
Really good point. I should do that more often. Thanks for that.
Yeah. So amazing. So where can people find more about you, the Sales Bar, Factor 8 Girls Club? What's anything you wanted to promote? Anything you want to share about what's going on in your world?
Well, listen, I'm super passionate about getting more Karen Kellys in the world. Like we need more women revenue leaders. We're sick of being the only ones out here and not enough of us on stages and books and at the tops of organizations. And that's why I started Girls Club 6 years ago. Whoa, 7 years ago. wearegirlsclub.com. Don't go to girlsclub.com. That will get you in trouble at work. wearegirlsclub.com. Once a year, we open a cohort. It's a 5-month leadership certification program that's boasting over 500 promotions and over 70% promotion rate. If you know a woman in sales, there's a place to nominate her. But if you are a woman thinking, hey, you know what? Someday I think I'd like to be a manager. I think I could do a better job, right? Or I think I would enjoy that. Or helping people is my favorite part of the job. That's your sign. And I get it, you don't feel ready yet, but 9 out of 10 women who come to us didn't. Mm-hmm. And I just told you 7 out of 10 got promoted within 6 months.
That's amazing.
So if you've been in sales for a couple years and you think maybe someday in the next few years, now is the time. Girls Club is designed to meet you where you are. We pre-train you on how to do the revenue leader job. We help build confidence. We get you a mentor. We get role models. It's magic in a freaking bottle. So that's where I want people to come find it. That's what I'm passionate about. If you're looking for sales training, you can go to factor8.com. That's the company that pays the bills, Karen.
That's amazing. Oh my God, I'm excited. I want to enroll after all that passion.
Come be a mentor. It will be the favorite part of your day. These women are freaking amazing. And most of them look around thinking that they're the only ones who are a hot mess. And then they get in this community and they realize, wow, right? Like we bring in women like you to come do that authentic thing like we talked about. And we get vulnerable and we share what we messed up and how we feel like imposters sometimes. And it gives people permission to be themselves. And that's the first key in becoming a great leader.
I love that. And usually when women are promoted, they bring their friends. And I feel that's how we can elevate not only the profession, get more women into that. Because a lot of the time the upper echelon is all the men that were in each other's wedding parties years ago, and they just continue to surround themselves. And you're just thinking, no one here looks like me, so maybe I'll just stay down here.
And that happens all the time, which is why we need so many mentors. So sign up to mentor as well. We have women and men who come in to mentor, but most of the women who come into these programs have literally never seen a female sales director, let alone CRO, CEO, entrepreneur, et cetera.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, thank you for sharing. We'll include all that in the show notes. Thank you for everything, Lauren, and really dispelling AI is our friend, but not to lean on it too much because it will replace us. And for some people, you're going to get replaced. So how can we leverage it, but still keeping our authentic voice front and center?
I love that you're highlighting that. Thank you for having me and for what you're doing for young people in sales.
My pleasure. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye.